Hey, it's Dave from DraftDashboard.com. Midweek update time, and I'm adjusting off Friday's pivots. On Friday, I moved primary exposure to Baker for price and leverage, but with ownership settling, I'm flipping my core back to the Burrow and Chase stack we opened with on Wednesday. I'm back on Joe Burrow at 6,900 with a dash rank of 100. He gets Cleveland, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 23. He's projected for 21, averaging 24 fantasy points per game, with a last three of 40, 23, and 20. The key driver for the switch is leverage. He's going to be about 1% owned, and that is too much ceiling going overlooked. There was a piece this week noting Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow are two of the best overall fantasy quarterbacks ahead of the 2025 season, and I want to lean into that long-term signal when the field is light. Running back stays the same at the top, with Devon Chain at 6,900 and a dash rank of 100. Indianapolis have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 28. He's projected for 19 with 18 fantasy points per game and a last 3 of 6, 34, and 15. He's essentially unowned right now, and the tournament profile is elite if he gets his usual touch count. Miami coach Mike McDaniel offered a crucial update on a Chain's injury earlier this week, so I'm treating him as a news-dependent core piece and building late swap outs if we get any setback. Wide receiver remains Jamar Chase at 8,100 with a dash rank of 100. Same matchup as Burrow against Cleveland, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 23. He's projected for 20 with 25 fantasy points per game and a last three of 22, 22, and 18. About 1% ownership on a premium ceiling is exactly why I'm reconsolidating around this stack. Training camp coverage has him and the Bengals locked in ahead of 2025, and that aligns with the numbers we're seeing. Tight end is a change from Friday. I'm moving off David Njoku and back to Trey McBride at 6,200 with a dash rank of 100. He draws New Orleans, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 26. He's projected for 15 with 16 fantasy points per game and a last three of 33, 5, and 18. The swing factor is role confidence plus demonstrated ceiling. Arizona just locked him up to a record extension, with Kyler Murray publicly celebrating it, and there's league-wide coverage about McBride dethroning Travis Kelce as the highest-paid tight end. That organizational commitment plus recent usage makes him worth paying for in this spot. Flex flips back to Puka Nacua at 7,600 with a dash rank of 100. He faces Houston, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 15. He's projected for 16 with 20 fantasy points per game and a last three of 16, 10, and 26. On Friday, I preferred Nico Collins, but I want the Rams side here for correlation and leverage. The Rams moved on from Cooper Kupp and brought in Davante Adams, and multiple pieces this week framed the Stafford, Adams, and Puka trio as one of the most dangerous in the NFL. That addition can siphon some defensive attention and keep Puka's efficiency strong, even if raw target share moves a bit. Defense shifts from Friday's Dolphins to the Packers at 2,900 with a dash rank of 100. They get Detroit, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 26. Projected for 6 with recent scores of 3, 17, and 15. You're getting splash play upside at modest 4.42% ownership and a salary that helps you afford the Burrow stack. Value quarterback returns to Spencer Rattler at 4,800 with a dash rank of 78. He draws Arizona, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 17. He's projected for 16 with a last three of 15, 7, and 9, and he's near zero ownership. This is strictly a tournament dart contingent on starter confirmation. The Saints' QB competition has been well covered, including Rattler leading a late scoring drive in preseason, but projections for quarterbacks are more reliable after multiple starts, so treat this as news-driven salary relief only. Value running back is Bam Knight at 4,000 with a dash rank of 63 as a deep punt only. He faces New Orleans, who have one of the worst defenses overall, with an opponent rank of 26. His last three are 2, 0, and 1. The thesis is simple: salary relief plus a path to touches if we get late depth chart news. Large field only. Value wide receiver remains Xavier Legette at 4,200 with a dash rank of 100. He gets Jacksonville, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31. He's projected for 8 with 8 fantasy points per game and a last 3 of 8, 0, and 3 at about 1% ownership. He's been highlighted among rising talents for 2025, and the matchup plus price keep him in my game stack pool. Value tight end is Dalton Schultz at 3,500 with a dash rank of 100. He faces the Rams, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 25. He's projected for 7 with 7 fantasy points per game and a last 3 of 10, 4, and 4. There was a piece this week reiterating how often he's been one of CJ Stroud's go-to guys, and that red zone relationship plays at this salary as a bringback to Puka lineups. Value flex sticks with Jalen Coker at 3,700 with a dash rank of 91. He draws Jacksonville, who have one of the worst defenses overall with an opponent rank of 31. He's projected for 8 with 9 fantasy points per game and a last 3 of 6, 3, and 24 at about 1% ownership. Low-cost access to a game that can push plays nicely with Legette. Punt defense remains the Titans at 2,200 with a dash rank of 74. They face Denver, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall with an opponent rank of 19. Recent DST scores are 3, -1, and 6 at 1.96% ownership. This is fine salary relief when you need to jam in premium stacks. Quick recap and why the changes from Friday. Back to Joe Burrow as the primary QB because ownership cratered to about 1%. The Browns have one of the worst defenses overall, and his recent 40 highlight ceiling. The broader article grouping him with Mahomes among the best fantasy QBs ahead of 2025 supports the bet. Devon Achane stays in core builds pending Mike McDaniel's update. The Colts matchup is soft, and the volatility is exactly what we want in tournaments. Jamar Chase remains the WR1 to stack with Burrow. No data or news dissuades that. Tight end flips back to Trey McBride on roll security after his record extension and a 33-point recent game in a favorable overall matchup. Flex returns to Puka Nacua to capture Rams' passing efficiency with Adams drawing attention. Solid floor with room for spikes. Defense moves to the Packers for price, recent splash plays, and a favorable opponent rank, while the Titans remain the punt. I'll circle back if Achane's status changes, or if we get firm starter news on Rattler. Build around the leverage, correlate your lineups, and let ownership work for you.